Live.
Hello, everyone. How are you today? Happy Wednesday. Is everybody doing great? It's sunny out there today, and I think it's in the 60s. Fine. How are you today? Happy Wednesday. Everybody doing great? It's sunny out there today. Sorry, there's an echo there. I don't know
I'm
what.
back.
Okay, sounds good. How's everybody doing today? You know what? It's starting to warm up, and I'm starting to feel like it's spring. Deb, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Hey, what a crazy week we had, you guys, with the eclipse and everything. Did you get to see it, Laura? Did you get a
You
chance?
know what? No, I didn't. But you know what? I got some great pictures from people. My
Yeah,
daughter-in-law took some amazing pictures,
that's awesome.
and I did see it getting a little dark outside and stuff. And I'm sure everybody was out there looking at it. And did you get to look at it too and everything?
What happened was is that after it kind of happened I was
Yeah.
able to run outside because I was working and I looked it through the glasses and I got to see like a little tiny half moon sun and it was the weirdest thing inside that spot and it just was cool. It was really cool. So I think it was for some people like made to be bigger or whatever, but what I heard though, it depends on where you lived. So
Yes.
there were some people that went down south.
Yeah.
To Illinois down south and they had a better viewing. And I think people like New York and Canada and everything, I think they had a better viewing. So I guess it's just where you are. So, anyways,
Well,
that's
that's great. Well, you know what, Deb? Why don't we talk about a great subject today? I'm sure everybody saw my promo and everything. You know, we really never realize what our feet do for us. I mean, think about it. It's a crucial part of your body.
yeah.
If we didn't have our feet in there, people have incidences where they lose their body parts or whatever. But feet are so important to us. And you know what? And when there's problems, there's a ripple effect that happens,
Mhm.
and yeah, your feet feel bad, your whole body starts to feel really bad. And you know what? An average person walks about 1,000 steps a day. I don't know. Do you count your steps, Deb?
I do. I have it on my Fitbit. So I usually get around 10,000 and
Yeah,
usually
that's amazing. That's
or
amazing.
more, sometimes in less, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, and so, foot pain could also cause knee pain, could cause back pain. And your foot is a mirror of your body and stuff. So, you have to protect your feet as much as possible. You want to talk a little bit about that, Deb, about some issues?
Yes. Okay. So here's the thing. I looked on this and I started thinking to myself, holy cow.
Mhm.
Um, you and I both have experienced all kinds of stuff, but there's so many things like they say and this is just going to be read for verbatim right out of here. Our feet and shoes are and on flat concrete are sort of like our digestive system on a crappy diet.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's really important that you have a well-fitting shoe. But if you're going
right.
to be a gym shoe or you're going to be wearing like a sports shoe, the biggest thing they talk about these days, they're expensive, but like Hoka's and some of the New Balance shoes, you're almost better to invest in one better pair than not having more or multiple pairs are not as good. But the crazy thing is that if your foot's improperly in a shoe or you're having too much stress on your feet, inflammation sets in. Inflammation is the key to so many things that we've gone over. And it's crazy because then if the inflammation is appearing, then it's trickling up the legs. And then what's happening? You got your back that's bad. Talking to two people here, Lori in the industry of floral arranging, me
Yeah.
and of here, we're standing, we're stressing, we're moving. And if your feet, first of all, if your feet are aching, you're gonna feel like uncomfortable, number one, which throws the pain up everywhere else. But also at the same time, it's like you're just if you're on your feet and you're like, oh, you're trying to stand on one foot, then the next foot, and you're like, oh my God, it hurts so much. You can't concentrate on what you're doing. So your overall everything is thrown off. Um, I just want to say two things and then I'll send it to you, Lori, because that last one is called like stiffness and stuff like that, and that inflammation can lead to arthritis. But when you talk about pain, three things, two out of this, Lori, or three, all three of these, Lori and I can talk about verbatim, okay, is toe pain. There's gout, bunions, and ingrown toenails. I know it sounds really a crazy subject to talk about, but I'm going to cover bunions for a second. Lori, I know you can talk about gout, and I know ingrown toenails are huge too. But bunions, like you guys, I've had bunions since I was 9 years old that we were
Wow, that's a long time.
and it's hereditary for me. Okay. Some people get it caused to improper wearing of shoes. Okay.
Mhm.
So here's me being okay, I hate to say this like a fashionista, right? I was like, I'm always going to wear whatever shoes I want to wear, and I don't care. I have the bunions if I'm in pain or not. Well, that did bite me in the butt a little bit because it did go to the point where I am now is that I really like to have them removed. I've researched a doctor. I have a fantastic doctor in the area that I've been going to that if anybody needs, a referral, but I'm not going to do it now until I get on Medicare because I'm like, my insurance doesn't cover enough of it. And you know what? It sucks, but you know what? I'm just going to deal with it. I got a couple more years and I'll be fine. But in the medium time, I've been able to get some cortisone injections into my area there, and it's mild. Okay. It's not a real heavy one, and it's helped. And then I was just showing Lori that there's these things called toe separators. I know it sounds so crazy, but they look like this and they come in white and black, and you put them on the toe. So let's just say, I'll use this one right here. Let's just say that this is next to one of your toes. It helps to separate that area so it's not pushing. So I have one toe that pushes over a lot. I have to wear certain kind of shoes. There's certain shoes I can't wear. Some of the really fun strappy ones I just can't wear. But eventually I will, and I wish I would have done it earlier, but you know how it is. We push things off. But
Right.
yeah, I'm going to move it over to you, Laura, because I know you've experienced bunions, but I know you've always have experienced some of the other stuff too.
Oh yeah, I have both of my feet had the bunions removed. One was an easier surgery than the other, but I do suggest if you guys do need to have surgery on your bunions, make sure you find a right foot doctor. Podiatrist is what you look for, and there's a lot of good ones out there and stuff. So, but my big thing is gout. All right, let me tell you about the first time that I got gout. I didn't even know what it was. I was in so much pain with the top of my feet, and it was only one foot. It was my left foot, and it was the top of my foot and in my toes. And it felt like when you walked, like you were walking and glass was breaking in your joints. Because what happens is your body, your body produces too much purines, and then it goes in and makes these crystals. And these crystals are little tiny crystals, and they go around your joints, and they like lock your joints like glue. So then when you go to walk, the crystals are breaking, and oh, it's just terrible. So the first time I had it happen to me, I was on a diet, okay, for about a month before I got it. And I think I got dehydrated because you could get gout from dehydration. You could get it from eating red meat, from seafood, shell foods, from too much sugar. You can get it from a lot of things. They call it, they used to say King Henry VIII used to get it all the time, or you're eating a lot of rich food and that. And like I said, it makes these purines. But the first time I got it, I was in so much pain. I went to the ER. They took x-rays. They said, yeah, I think you just have some arthritis. And they gave me some anti-inflammatories and sent me home. I was in so much pain for 2 days that I went to another emergency room. To get to the emergency room, I had to crawl down my stairs, crawl all the way down to the basement, get in the garage, and get on a computer chair to somebody wheeling me into my cousin's car. And I went to the hospital and I told the people, I'm not leaving here until I'm out of pain. And so that's when they figured out that I had gout, and they gave me some, it's called imnomycin. I'm going to actually put it on our thing because on our message is on the bottom, because that's the only thing that helped me. There's nothing worse than gout in your body. I'm telling you, you could get it in your elbows. You could get it in your knees, any joints it could happen to. And I don't have that problem anymore, Debbie, because I went to see a rheumatologist, and she gave me alpurinol. That's a medicine that they give for gout people. I take it every day as a preventative medication. And I don't wish that on my worst enemy, because it is the worst. So, and your body, oh, and this is what you look for if you have this kind of pain, because it usually starts in your feet. You look for a redness and stiffness. And I would suggest that you look it up online and you see if you compare it to what it is and get into the doctor right away. But remember, just like we talked about before, too much of a good thing could turn into a bad thing. So we got to take control of our health and do what we got to do to prevent these things from happening.
Well, and here's the thing, being your own advocate, and like you
Yeah.
mentioned a few things as you were talking, and like a lot of them cross over into other things.
Right.
But like if you're not getting the relief that you're supposed to be getting, you need to just keep digging because sometimes it might be like misdiagnosed. And so good thing that you got to where you could, because isn't there like we have plantar fasciitis too to talk on here that talks about heel pain. Isn't that got to do with the crystals too or something?
Yeah, it does. And you know what? It's funny we're talking about that because my daughter supposedly is going through that right now. And I'm trying to, she's in Arizona now. I'm trying to get her to just get to a regular doctor because she went to an ER and that's what they said that she probably had. And they just gave her some ibuprofen, some strong ibuprofen and inflammatories. And she's in so much pain. And I was like, actually, that's how I got the idea of doing our thing today after talking to her yesterday. But
Right.
yeah, it's walking too much, bad shoes, circulation, all kinds of stuff. Over time, your posture and your mobility will go away. You will lose all that stuff if you don't take care of your feet. It has something to do with the inflammation of a thick band that runs from heel bone to the toes. And what she's been telling me is it hurts more when she gets up in the morning. But when she starts walking and stretching out her foot, it gets better. Okay. But she has a job where she's on her feet. She works nights. So she says by the nighttime, it's not so bad. But I saw some of the stuff to relieve the pain for that is taking your foot and rolling it on a ball.
Yeah.
And and that's what it basically what happens to it. It's an inflame in the band. There's another kind of band too in your foot. I think it's probably the same band. But when I had a bone spur, I don't mean to jump to something else, but I had a bone spur on my heel. And that particular band was stretched out. And so what they had to do was they had to go in there and take out the bone spur. And they had to take and tighten that part, that fasciitis, whatever they call it, part. You had to tighten it. It's a muscle, like, and they had to tighten that band up. And then, I had to do exercise. I had to do feet on a ball and all that kind of stuff. So it was basically in the same thing. It was that.
Okay.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I just want to interject it real quick so I don't lose a thought for a second. I read in here too, and I'm a big pro. You guys all know we have these patches and everything like that. That helped many people with all that stuff. So that's another subject if who wants to contact us, but also acupuncture. I read
Oh, that's huge.
and ancient Asian Chinese and that whole, Asian thing, I guess on the bottom of your foot, so let's say your foot and there's all these pressure points.
Right.
Every has like even like will help a different organ or part of your body. But I know that if you can try some of that, it's certainly, I mean, it sounds crazy, but man, oh man, it works, so being, exhausting all your possibilities, is worth.
Oh, that's great. Now tell me, Deb, because you see an acupuncturist and stuff, and is it easy to find one?
Yeah, and in fact, I've got, well, in this local area, I got one that's fantastic. but you just gotta go look at, some, like, do a Google search, whatever, but then try to look at the reviews. And obviously, if you don't like the person when you go, you can go to someone else. But there are quite a few more that are around. A lot of them are teaming up in wellness clinics with like physical therapies and things like that. I know, hey, Linda Lalonde, we've talked about her many a times. She's got a person in her office that does cupping and acupuncture over in Downers Grove, and then there's also, obviously, look around, but yeah, they're very, it's a very, shall I say, up and coming, you know, many more people are going and utilizing it, I should say.
Yeah, now I have another question since you go to one. Does insurance cover some of these costs?
Fortunately, mine does. It goes under physical therapy. There's quite a few that do. And but I will tell you, without sounding weird, there's a lot of variation in cost. Okay, so it's not a like kind of traditional, that a doctor kind of
Mhm.
charges X amount of dollars for something and you have a copayment. They all vary. And I'll tell you what, I mean, again, the one I'm going to is very reasonable. And she charges $30, which is
Yeah, that's great. I thought I would ask you that because our audience might be interested in knowing.
yeah.
So like Debbie says, do some research and stuff like that. And well, how about we go into toenails, and going into ingrown toenails?
You know what? I'm going to say something. Two things. One, I don't know if you know this, but if you're on Medicare, you
Yeah,
can you can go and get a once every so many oftentimes that you can go and get your toenails cut. I know this is a weird subject, but if you can afford to even go get a pedicure and they know what they're doing, it's much better to have them do it the right way than, because if you're not cutting them correctly, you can get ingrown. And when you get an ingrown toenail, it is very painful. I know my brother had to have one cut out or whatever, and
yeah.
people are more prone to them, and it's really painful as it's there, and then it's really painful to have it removed. So
Yeah,
yeah.
they're saying you need to make sure when you cut your nails, you cut it straight across.
Yeah.
Don't
Mhm.
try to do any shaping or anything like that. Like Debbie says, leave it to the people that, you go get your feet done and everything. Hey, it's spring. We're going into the summertime soon. You want your feet to look the best anyway, right?
Right, right,
Uh,
right. Oh my gosh, how about numbness and tingling? Okay, here's another one, Lori. You
yeah,
can talk about the crossover in numbness and tingling. I
yeah.
mean, people can
Numbness
really,
is coming. I know that because I have numbness in my feet. Um,
yeah, I
my
mean,
this is from my diabetes.
exactly. It says it's a common trigger, is what it says in here. Um,
And also I
yeah.
experience the problem with the circulation. And I didn't, I never really got it so recently what they were talking about. What happens is sometimes if you have any conditions that, like diabetes or anything, what happens, your blood flows down to your feet, but it doesn't make it back up. And it causes swelling and inflammation. And it's terrible. It hurts your feet, it hurts everything, every part of your body. My legs have always been like balloons, okay? And what they do for people like this, I don't know if you ever heard those socks, those
Compression socks. Mm-hmm.
sorry, what'd you say?
Compression,
Yeah,
compression.
compression socks. My vocabulary, my words are out the window
Oh,
today.
okay.
Um, but you know what I started doing? And I've been doing this now for about 3 months. And I'm not saying to go to these drastic measures, but I sleep on the small couch, the small couch, love seat couch. I sleep with my legs up,
Okay.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I sleep. Then I almost sleep like I'm almost in a U. Okay, I wake up in the morning and my legs are completely with no swelling at all. My legs have never looked better.
That's
And then
all.
as the day goes by, they swell a little bit, but not like they used to before. And I know people don't want to sleep on their love seat, but you know what? Maybe when you come home from work or you're watching TV, get your feet up, get your legs and feet up because you're on them all day long. Like I said, they're a vital part of your body, and you need to do something to get them to relax and to, get the stress off of them.
Absolutely. I mean, the next one is called, swelling, is one of the categories that we're talking about, but also there's fluid retention. So if you have fluid retention, correct me if I'm wrong, Laura, if you actually do have that and you do elevate your feet, that's going to help as well. So I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
they're all crossing over into here, and so whatever the issue is, and remember, guys, you're going to have like there's it says in here, uncontrolled blood sugar creates free radicals and inflammation, and that you can have, the blood vessels start to lose integrity, and that's how you get the swelling. I think that if you look at one condition, you got to also consider, could there be anything else underlying that's attributing it to it, and try to like make sure that you're aware of that, because I think there's a lot of times, we've said this 5 million times, that things cross over so much, so
yeah,
um,
they do.
you can get back to, it's kind of interesting. I went to the doctor today for my physical, and she said, the biggest thing that we talk about is, the healthy choices, and are we getting exercise, and are we drinking water, and are we getting the right proper nutrition? These are the basics, but how many times do we all forget to do what we should be doing, So,
Exactly.
and so in times of when you're finding out that you're going through some of this stuff, it's if you clean up your act a little bit, you might find out that some of the stuff might get helped a little bit. But there's also other things too, Lori. There's those like plantar warts, there's fungal infections. I know it's kind of gross to talk about, but there's thyroid issues. These are the things that, like, if you see something that's not right, or you see something, you need to go have it checked.
Right.
Your minimum, go to the media care, and then they can maybe refer you to a podiatrist if you don't have a podiatrist. Because sometimes, again, it's kind of good to get an overall opinion, and then they'll send you to the specialty person, if necessary, but they may be able to diagnose something else that's creating it.
Right. Well, they say that podiatrist is probably one of the first one of the people, one of the doctors that could find more things out with you by how your feet are. They
I
could
think
tell you if you think they have thyroid problems, they think if you have diabetes, they could heart problems, liver problems, kidney problems
yeah,
are all they could figure that out by just looking at your feet and what's going on with your feet.
it's crazy, isn't it? But
Yeah,
like,
it's absolutely crazy, but it makes sense when you start thinking about it.
um, here's a funny one, Lori. They talk about going barefoot, and I
Yeah,
always like laugh because my next door neighbors go barefoot all the time, and I'm like crack up. And I know a kid that lives, well, actually he grew up now, but he was a runner for the high school, and he used to run barefoot. And we were like, how the heck could this kid do this? It's just like, because all I could think of is just stepping on a rock, or stepping on glass, or stepping on, I mean, he was like on the sidewalk, you
wow,
know. No, it's crazy, but I don't know. They say that it's good to do that sometimes, to go. It gives you full range of motion. It gives you, you're actually, I guess, I mean, let's think about this way, Lori, if you ever had a pair of shoes on that kind of hurt your feet, and you just can't wait to take them off, but you're not home. You're like, oh my God, I can't wait to take these off. And then you take them off and you're barefoot, and you're like,
yeah, oh yeah,
I know. So, I mean, they say it's good to do, I mean, we kind of are a like slipper kind of person sometimes in the house, but sometimes it does feel good to be barefoot.
right. And it is good to air them out, and it's, say when I think of bare feet, I just think about somebody sitting in the grass, and
Yeah.
their feet in the grass, and
In the
it's
70s smoking weed, right? Sorry
not,
that I say that. It's so true.
it's not that, not me.
Laughing. Oh, heck. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is a great subject. I think that if anybody hears anything that resonates with them, of like, oh my goodness, I think maybe I should be
Yeah,
checked up. Because you know what? Sometimes another person will say something, and you're like, oh, well, maybe that's what's going on. And you're oblivious to it because all you're doing is you're not making time for yourself. Just like today when I was walking and my one bunny was hurting me a lot and I need to make an appointment to go get a cortisone shot. I haven't gone for a while because then why should I suffer, you know? And yes, I have alternate things I do. I love the patches I work with. I love all the things I have. You know, I'm not a big one to go for the Advil or Tylenol, but if it's something that can help, especially because I do need, in this particular situation, I do have to have surgery on that, but I'm, you know, pushing it off as much as I can. And if that's going to help me, I'm going to do it, you know?
Yeah,
Uh,
and you know what, our audience, our wonderful audience out there, if you have any questions about Deb patches, they are amazing. Just private messenger and she'll tell you all the stuff that can help you out, especially with your feet and balance and everything.
yeah, that's true, Laura. We weren't even thinking feet and
Yeah,
balance. You know, a lot of people don't realize, oh my God, the balance. So what's going on? And you know, you could be off balance because maybe you're not stepping on your foot properly because you're in pain. So then that's going to throw you off. Now, when you throw your balance off, let me just tell you something. Take it from me. My whole back was whacked out like kind of like this, like where my hips were because of my career, you know, but that's okay. You know, you pay for it in one way, right? But I learned how to alleviate that and I did learn how to go to someone who's helped me, you know, Dr. Susan has helped me and it's crazy, you know. So anyways, through like a more physical therapy stuff kind of and also, you know, strengthening and all that, it's better. But you know what? Sometimes you're going to think like, oh, well, it's just old age. Oh, I'm not going to get better. No, you know what? Totally, you need to dig in and be your own advocate. Lori and I talk about that all the time, right, Laura?
right, all the time. And you know what? Some things are genetic,
Yeah.
some things are because of your diet, some things are just because. So, yeah.
Right. So with that, Laura, I don't know. I think we covered
Yeah,
just about
I think
everything.
we did. So,
Close this out then, or what?
okay. I'm Lori.
Hi, Debbie.
Have a good day, and we're friends helping friends. Take care now. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
take it easy. Bye bye.